let's take a look at worksheet 2.2 here, dealing more with data and drawing graphs and interpreting and answering a bunch of questions from it. So, number one question says, Mr. Mars collected a random sample of 40 students' ACT scores. The scores are listed below. So again, take out your calculator here today, and one of the things that you want to do, I'm just going to clear that out, is I'm going to go to Stat, and I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to type in all of those ACT scores into my list 1. I've already done it. In fact, I've typed in all the data for problem number 2 here, all the data for problem number 3 here, and all the data for problem 4 right here in list 4. So if you need to pause the video and enter in your data at any time, please do so. But just to let you know, my lists are already pre-entered because it helps save time on the videos a little bit. So in question A, it asks you to find the 5-number summary of the data and draw the box plot. So something that we've already been doing. So if I go back to my calculator, pull it up. If I go to my stat menu, go over to calc, one variable statistics. Since I'm doing list 1, I can just hit enter at least for this one. So if I scroll down, there's my 5-number summary. So I'm going to take a minute and note those down here and then draw the draw the box and whisker plot. So my min was 15, my Q1 was 19, my median was 22, my Q3 was 27, and my max was 35. So I'm asked to draw a box plot and describe its shape. So here's my number line. My low was 15. I'm going to count from 15 by 5s, 20, 25, 30, 35. I'm going to note that I'm talking about ACT scores. Oops. And I'm going to go ahead and graph it. My min was 15, my max was 35, my Q1 was 19, median 22, and Q1 27. Go ahead and connect the box for the middle, whisker, and you can see that we got a little bit of a longer whisker on the right side than the left side, so we can say that it is skewed to the right. So now the next part asks you to find interquartile range, IQR, otherwise known as Q3 minus Q1. So looking at my 5-number summary, that's 27 minus 19 or 8. So now it says use the 1.5 times IQR definition to name any outliers. Make sure to show your work. So this is what I'm going to be looking for. Again, outliers are values that are greater than Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR or less than Q1 minus 1.5 times the IQR. So what I want to do is plug in the numbers here. So I'm looking at 27 plus 1.5 times 8, and I'm looking at 19 minus 1.5 times 8. Well, 1.5 times 8 is 12, so 12 plus 27 is 39, and 19 minus 12 is 7. So outliers are scores greater than 39 or less than 7. In our case, we have no outliers for our data set or for our data. So E asks you to find the standard deviation of the data. So that's where we go back to one variable statistics and look for S of X. So if I go back to my calculator, I can actually still have this in here and scroll back up and look at S of X as 5.2290. I'll round it to 2 decimal places and say that it's 5.23. And then we're looking at the units. The units here, I would consider them to be points since we're talking about ACT score. So we figure that they're using some sort of standardized point system. That takes care of number 1. Now when you go to number 2, my data I've already entered in list 2. So the process is somewhat of the same here. You're asked to find the 5-number summary of the data, draw a box plot of the data, and describe its shape. So we're going to try to do all of that here. So the first thing I do is I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to go Stat, highlight, right arrow, Calculate, 1 variable statistics. Now, my data is in list 2, so I have to enter L2 after it. So I go ahead and hit enter, scroll down, and I can note my 5-number summary there going from 130 to 650. I'm going to write those values down here for us. So my min was 130, my Q1 was 199, my my median was 269.5, my Q3 was 376, and my max is 650. So now I'm going to draw a box plot here. My x-axis, this is representing the cost of textbooks. I'm going to note what it is. So it looks like I could go from 100 to about 700. So 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. So my min was 130, my max was 650, so my Q1 199, median 269, Q3 was 376. So now we can definitely see with this one a big tail to the right. So we would say that it is skewed to the right. Alright, the last one here in part B here, it says find the inner quartile range. Again, so inner quartile range is equal to is equal to Q3 minus Q1. So in this particular case, 376 minus 199, which is 177. So we want to use that and the 1.5 IQR definition to name any outliers. So for our outliers, if you look up above, for my rules, there are values that are greater than Q3, which was 376 plus 1.5 times 177, or values that are less than 199 plus 1.5 times 177. So if I do those calculations, I get 641.50, and I get negative $66.50. Well, doesn't make any sense to spend negative money on books, so we don't have any outliers on the lower bound. However, we do have the 0.650 that is above. So based on this criteria, $650 is an outlier. Okay, you can go ahead and stop the video and turn to the next